Today, we are going to recap a 2011 Korean movie called Always. It's a heartfelt romantic love story about a washed-up champion fighter falling in love with a blind girl. Stay until the end to learn the plot twist of the movie. I promise you will enjoy it. Spoilers ahead. Thank you for tuning in and have a great time. We are introduced to our main protagonist Marcelino, a 30-year-old former boxing champion now working as a water delivery guy. Despite his past glory, life has become dull and unfulfilling for him. To make ends meet, he's taken on a new job as a night parking attendant. On a rainy night, Marcelino is watching television in the parking booth when he is surprised by a woman who enters and starts talking to him. However, Marcelino has no clue who she is. Startled, the woman gets surprised when Marcelino asks her who she is, and that's when he realizes that she is blind. She explains that she was looking for the older worker, and Marcelino informs her that the older worker retired today. The woman shares that she used to watch TV with the retired co-worker and leaves. Stranded in the rain, she stands outside until Marcelino invites her to join him in the booth. Although she can't see the TV, the blind girl happily hears the show with Marcelino by her side. Marcelino is enchanted by her presence, and before she leaves, she gives him some food and requests that he water the night jasmine plant once a week. This peculiar encounter brings a glimmer of brightness to Marcelino's otherwise mundane life. Returning home, he eats the food and even shares some with his pet turtle, as he decides it's time to make a change. The blind girl works as a customer service representative, handling calls from often rude clients. Despite the challenging conditions, she does her best as it's the only job she can manage. Her boss, however, is a creep and often makes her feel uncomfortable. Meanwhile, Marcelino decides to return to his former gym. His trainer is thrilled to see him again, but the gym owner, who supported Marcelino in the past, hasn't forgiven him for disappearing after winning the title. Inside, Marcelino encounters an old rival who challenges him to a fight, but Marcelino seems hesitant to fight again. The gym owner loses his temper and kicks Marcelino out after seeing how timid he is. Later that night, the blind girl returns to the booth to watch TV. This time, she becomes curious about the show and frequently asks Marcelino about it. As they spend time together, Marcelino gradually develops feelings for her. After expressing gratitude for the food she provided, Marcelino learns her name is Jong-hae. Her life as a blind person is challenging, filled with daily obstacles, and she lives alone. Marcelino eagerly waits for her the next evening, and they enjoy the drama together. This time, they bonded over conversation, and Jong-hae got curious about his face. After their lovely time together, Jong-hae heads home and a reckless driver nearly hits her, causing her injuries to her leg. Marcelino rushes her to the hospital and carries her up numerous flights of stairs to her home. This experience opens Marcelino's eyes to the challenges Jong-hae faces every day. When Marcelino arrives at Jong-hae's home, she asks for his help with a clogged drain that's causing flooding. He helps unclog the drain and discover it's caused by her panties. Despite feeling a bit embarrassed, she decides to thank Marcelino by giving him 2 concert tickets. Since Marcelino doesn't have other friends, they decided to go together, and she was very excited about it. This is her first date in a very long time, and she gets her hairstyle for the occasion. The concert turns out to be a fantastic experience, and they continue the night with a meal together. During dinner, Jong-hae opens up about her life and shares that she used to be able to see but went through a traumatic event that led to her losing her vision and the death of her parents. However, Marcelino becomes defensive when she asks about his life. He unexpectedly loses his temper and tells her to mind her own business, ruining the lovely night. She ends the date and Marcelino accompanies her back home. Just before she enters her house, she apologizes for bothering him and ruining his day, even though it's not her fault. Marcelino gathers the courage to share a bit of his history. He confesses that he used to be a boxer and got into trouble, leading to his current situation. Despite feeling embarrassed about his past, he's working hard to overcome it, and that's why he hesitated to share it with Jong-hae. The following day, Jong-hae manager calls her into his office at work, offering her a gift while making unwelcome advances. Uncomfortable, she politely leaves his office and decides to go straight home after work, skipping her usual activities with Marcelino. This leaves Marcelino feeling down, as he wanted to make up for the previous night's mistake. After careful consideration, Marcelino decides to confide in his former coach and the gym owner. Overcoming his initial hesitation, Marcelino bravely confesses that he spent 4 years and 3 months in prison after winning the boxing title. He details his descent into becoming a violent debt collector. One night, while collecting a debt, a person set himself on fire and jumped out the window, causing a car accident. Marcelino's life took a dark turn, leading to his imprisonment. The injured person survived and is now cared for in a Catholic medical facility, where Marcelino seeks reconciliation through regular visits. A nurse at the facility gives Marcelino a keepsake meant for a lover, but lacking a girlfriend. He thinks of one person to give it to. One night, Jong-hae walks home alone in the dark, and her senses heighten when she believes someone is following her. To her dismay, it turns out to be her intoxicated manager, holding a bottle of wine, pressure her to invite him inside. Jong-hae, knowing the importance of her job for her medical condition, tries to maintain politeness, but the situation escalates. She requests her manager to leave, but he becomes increasingly aggressive and tries to force himself onto her. Marcelino arrives just in time and beats up her boss, threatening to kill him if he ever sees him. Trembling in fear, the the boss leave. Marcelino comforts Jong-hae, as she is crying and anxious about losing her job, a crucial source of support for her survival. Marcelino assures her that he'll take care of her, but she hesitates, concerned that accepting help might complicate her life. Feeling powerless, Marcelino walks away. Despite the tension, he finds himself unable to stay away from Jong-hae. Over the next few days, Marcelino discreetly follows her, ensuring she remains safe. One night, Jong-hae visits Marcelino at his security booth and informs him that she quit her job. She invites him to join her on a short weekend vacation, and he agrees. On the day of the trip, Marcelino adds another surprise by bringing along an adorable small puppy he adopted for Jong-hae. They spend a beautiful day together by the river while getting to know each other. They enjoy the scenery and pick 2 pebbles as a memento of each other. These pebbles become symbols of their connection, signifying the start of a beautiful relationship. Fueled by a newfound purpose and love, Marcelino returns to the gym to prepare for an upcoming mixed martial arts competition, achieving significant success. Simultaneously, he fixes up their home to create a cozier living space for Jong-hae. Their relationship thrives as they continue supporting each other. One day, Jong-hae takes Marcelino to her late parents' memorial site. Here she reveals the tragic story of a car accident that not only took her sight but also claimed her parents' lives. Shockingly, Marcelino learns that he was imprisoned for the same incident that caused Jong-hae's blindness and her parents' deaths. Despite the guilt, Marcelino struggles to find the courage to reveal the truth. Unfortunately, Jong-hae's vision worsens, and her doctor predicts she will be permanently blind within a month. The only solution is a transplant, but she won't have time to wait for a donor. Marcelino asks for an alternative solution, and the doctor recommends he can buy the eyes from the United States. With limited funds, Marcelino turns to an old rival who introduces him to a shady criminal boss. While meeting the criminal boss, he receives the money for the operation but learns that he will participate in an illegal underground fight in Thailand. Marcelino spends a beautiful fun day with Jong-hae while keeping this dangerous job a secret. He lied about having savings to pay for the operation, and she must take it now or forever be blind. She hesitated because she feels guilty for surviving while her parents didn't. She feels better being blind to cope with the survivor guilt. Marcelino convinces her with the hope of seeing him and their future children, and she eventually agrees. Marcelino accompanies her to the hospital and stays with her until the surgery begins. She told him excitingly, "See you later," before the surgery. After arriving in Thailand, Marcelino discovers that the fights is a brutal cage fight with no rules and until one person is left standing. The event is broadcast to an underground world of illegal gambling, attracting wealthy spectators who watch the fight live. Marcelino faces fierce competition and initially struggles but ultimately emerges victorious. Marcelino's old rival is distraught since he bid against Marcelino and in big trouble since he now owes money to the criminal boss. The prize for winning the match is a valuable diamond, and Marcelino is tasked with smuggling it back to Korea. However, just as he's about to leave Thailand, his old rival and his henchmen attack him, stealing the diamond and stabbing Marcelino in the process. Back in Korea, Jong-hae successfully recovers from her surgery, regaining her sight. However, Marcelino is nowhere to be found, leaving Jong-hae waiting in vain. Their apartment building needs to be sold and Jong-hae is refusing to leave in hopes that Marcelino will return. Eventually, she has no choice but to move since she is the last tenant left. On the day of the move, the Catholic hospital sends a package addressed to Marcelino, which Jong-hae receives. She travels to the hospital and encounters the broken man and nuns who recognize her as Marcelino's girlfriend. After hearing the story of the broken man's accident, Jong-hae pieces together that Marcelino is the cause of her accident, which resulted in the loss of her parents' lives and her own loss of eyesight. After some time and the initial shock of learning the truth, she eventually comes to terms with it and still loves Marcelino. As time passes, Jong-hae becomes a sculptor. While working in her workshop, she tries to recreate Marcelino's face in her sculptures, but it proves challenging because she's never seen his face. She misses Marcelino and her life remains relatively unchanged while she volunteers at a local medical facility. One day, Marcelino becomes one of the patients at the facility. Unaware of his identity, Jong-hae provides him with a massage. Marcelino remains silent to avoid revealing himself. He is ashamed that he's now crippled, and a broken person mixed with the guilt of causing her parent death. Upon Marcelino's discharge from the hospital, he visits Jong-hae's shop and buys the night jasmine plants. And while the store worker is not looking, he steals back his beloved pet turtle. Outside the store, Marcelino's dog recognizes him and excitedly rushes to greet him, knocking him to the floor. Jong-hae chases after the dog and apologizes to him and realizes he's the man she cared for in the hospital. Marcelino kept silent to avoid revealing his identity and walked away in tears. Although he loves her, the shame and guilt make him believe she is better off without him. Upon her return to the shop, she discovers her pet turtle has disappeared and her dog is barking frantically. She has a feeling that the man in crutches is Marcelino and asks the store worker was he in the store earlier. The store worker confirms it and mentions he bought the night jasmine plant. Realizing that the man is Marcelino, she rushes outside to find him, but her efforts prove unsuccessful. She calls the hospital looking for information and drives around searching for him. After some contemplation, Jong-hae revisits the place where they had their memorable trip and finds him there. In a beautiful emotional scene, she tearfully asks him why he denied her the chance to see his face. It's the only thing she wants to see. She walks closer and touches his face while asking him to look at her. They both embrace each other tightly with Marcelino telling Jong Hae that he loves her. That's the end of this recap. Thanks for watching and staying till the end. Please leave a comment, subscribe, share, and like. See you at the next one.